had, but most people these days actually have this tyre repair kit. And the top 3 motoring organisations in the UK say this is confusing a lot of us. They've seen their call-outs almost double in the RAC because people are really unsure of what to do with this. Chris Millwood is an expert. What have we got here, Chris? What are we looking at?
Good morning. Yes, this is a very common sight for us, unfortunately, where the customer's had a puncture at the roadside and they've gone to the boot to expect a spare wheel and they've got a can of sealant. For whatever reason, they've used the sealant and it hasn't worked. And this frustration then turns to anger because they're expecting to find a spare wheel.
Not that it doesn't work necessarily, but they don't know how to use it, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sometimes it's not suitable, the punch is too large, sometimes they haven't followed the instructions correctly. Bearing in mind they're expecting to find a spare wheel, so they're very frustrated at that time when we get there and they find out they haven't got a spare wheel. When I go out to change wheels, and you open the tailgate, you look in the boot carpet, and you look in and there's no spare wheel there. And I've had comments before where the customer actually thinks that the spare wheel's been stolen or the garage have kept it for some reason.
Thanks very much, Chris. Well, let's speak to David Bisley. David, what can help motorists in this situation?
Well, we need dealers to be crystal clear with anyone buying a new car, whether that vehicle comes with a spare wheel, and if not, whether it's possible for the customer to buy one as an optional extra.
Okay, David, thank you very much. Well, obviously the message is check what's in your boot. The top 10 vehicles sold in 2011, only one of them actually had a spare wheel. So, Bill, check what's in your boot. Do you have a spare tyre?
Yeah, absolutely. Very good point, Deborah. Thanks very much. Let's talk about this to Keith Lewis from the Society of Motor Manufacturers. He joins us from central London. Morning, Keith. Why don't motor manufacturers put spare tyres in the car anymore? It used to be considered 100% necessary.
Well, it's actually a fact of the matter that you absolutely can have a spare tyre if you want one. We've looked at all our data, and I'm not quite sure what your colleague just said there, but we think about 80% of new models that are on the road sold today, last year, have an option to have a spare tyre in there. So if you want one, customers can absolutely have one.
Have you got one on your car, or have you gone with the damage repair kit?
Absolutely I have. So I checked that when I bought it in April last year, and it certainly was there under the boot when I looked for it. And that's a crucial part of the car buying process. People need to fully understand everything that they're getting when they spend what can be upwards of £10,000–12,000 on a new car. You should have a good look round it and look at all the things in there. And our manufacturers do that with customers. I actually took my car in for a service MOT yesterday, and I asked the guys there what they do, and they showed me the checklist that they go through, which includes very clearly part of the descriptor as to how where the spare tyre is if it's there, and how to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, it's an issue, I tell you, which has got people really going this morning. A lot of people getting in touch saying the puncture repair thing only works if it's a small hole, and also once you put that gloop in the tyre's had it, you've got to get a new one.
Well, let's remember that the spare tyre isn't just a lump of rubber that sits in the boot. It's a fundamental part of the safety system of the car. Car's 10,000 components. We've got to make sure they all work really, really closely and well together so the car is in an optimum, tip-top, safe and fuel-efficient manner. And that's what we want people to do. Obviously, if you have a blowout of any description, it's a really inconvenient thing to do. It can be unnerving, and it's bound to be at a time where you're doing something that you're getting from A to B on the school run or getting to work. There are experts out there who will come and help you. So the AA figures that they told us that 90% of all their tyre-related call-outs are to cars with a spare tyre. So the tyre isn't necessarily the issue. People don't feel confident or able to do that by the roadside, and there are people out there who can help. I think part of the point is that people need to understand what they've got. I mean, the highway code that hopefully everyone reads and checks in regularly says that we should check our tyres pressures once a week. So people shouldn't be finding at that crucial point that they don't have a spare tyre in the boot, because they should have known about it when they bought it, and they should keep up to date that the pressures of all 4 or 5 tyres are optimum use so that you drive safely.
That is a very good point. Keith, thanks very much, Keith Lewis there. And when was the last time you checked it?
Once a week.
Once a week.
I tell you what, it wasn't this week, and it wasn't last week either.
All right. Coming up, BBC News Channel has the latest news from home and abroad.
You're on breakfast.